All right, good evening. Good evening. Special edition of Ship Chasing tonight. I got my pros versus Joes draft. This is an FFPC best ball league. It's a slim 18 rounds, slightly different settings than maybe some of us are used to on Underdog. So we're going to talk through that as I draft this team from the one full pilots here tonight, Ben Gretsch and Sacrilegious. This is Ship Chasing. Let's do it.
Pat Fryer Helmo.
This is why I'm hot.
Anita Handjob.
Fix your sight.
Jamar Alpha Play Chase.
Are you kidding me? Kadarius Toney?
You can't handle the heat.
It looks like we're finally at this point. You're right.
All right. This draft is already off to the races, guys. So no pleasantries. Bijan goes 1-3. I was expecting to get Chase here at 1-4, but Tyreek Hill feels like a pretty nice gift here. Do you guys concur?
Yeah, happily. Always happy to click Tyreek at the 104.
Let's do it. How's it going, Gretsch?
Good. Yeah, that's a fun start. Tyreek.
Yeah, I guess it is like I spent a lot of time looking at some of the ADP. I've been looking at some of the leg up ranks, the RotoViz ranks, of course. But in these industry drafts, right, where a lot of people are doing their first draft, I feel like the ADP might even be, I don't want to say completely meaningless, but not as helpful as if you were in just like a best ball slim with all the regulars or whoever.
But this is also a pros versus Joes, and isn't it every other? So that would have been a Joe, right? Since you are a pro.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, every other, the way it sets up.
Let me make sure I can give you guys some of. I'll get the screen here so you can see.
It's actually my burner. I take Bijan.
Yeah, it looks like the pros. There's Matt Schauf. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right, from Draft Sharks. There is Theo from Player Profiler. There's Stacy Perez, who's friends with our gal Steph. Sigmund Bloom, of course, Football Guys, and Todd Burrows from Sharp Football. So, got a fun room here. Sacrilegious, I know you and Drico have been doing a decent amount of this exact style format, right?
Yeah, I think I'm a little over 30 or so FFPC drafts so far this summer. So definitely lighter on this platform than on Underdog and DraftKings, but been enjoying it. The competition is definitely my preferred competition to go against in these rooms. So there's some really fun stuff that you can do here. The ADPs are much less efficient, much earlier. So there's oftentimes I'll be in a draft with Drico. He'll say, "Oh, but that's like a full round reach on ADP." I'm like, I don't care. The ADP is so off here. Like I don't think the guy's coming back to us. Let's just take the best player. So this is one of the platforms where I'll deviate the most from ADP, and in a room where we know that people are going to be sharper than usual, I would definitely be open to doing that.
Yeah. Gretsch, we're getting our bearings in our first FFPC main event slow. By the way, if you guys are Ship Chasing VIPs and YouTube members, I'm going to start trickling those out. I'll post our first one tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. But Gretsch, we get a pretty fun bully tight end start here from the turn, the Laporta McBride at the 1-2.
Yeah, that was something we talked about a little. I can't spoil the mini-sodes. I think every year since I joined Ship Chasing, I've spoiled the mini-sodes in one way or another. So I'll just say that was something that came up in one of the episodes. A vague strategy. It's not actually something we went with. That's the spoiler I'll give. But it's fascinating. Sacrilegious, I'm curious if you guys do a lot of that, or if you're into the bully tight end and tight end premium.
We definitely. Drico has had some really, really good articles over the years on how to play the tight end position in tight end premium. And we would not be doing something like Sam Laporta, Trey McBride at the 1-2 turn there. It's more so that when the tight ends are the best pick available, you can feel pretty comfortable just clicking it and foregoing the other positions until you get to about 3 of them. Like if you find yourself with 3 just absolute stud tight ends, then you're probably good, because that's the most that you can play in any 1 week with the 2 flex positions. It's really just like, don't be afraid of grabbing the tight end if it's the best player available, even if you already have 1 or 2 really, really powerful ones, just because the position is so strong in this format. I mean, you could have guys dropping 40 or 50,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild to see Puka Nakua at 204. That's going to be probably the latest I think I'm going to see him go in any format this year. Like that's a fun little gift for the 9-hole.
All right, so we are almost up. We have seen a bunch of tight ends go now. Laporta McBride at the turn, Kelsey Kincaid, other guys off. Achane going much earlier than his ADP, early in the second. JT comes off the board. Marvin Harrison. We are on deck here. I'm looking at kind of best available. I'm probably looking at something like a Drake London or Chris Olave. What do you guys think here? It looks like London probably.
Yeah, I would be London here. The other thing that I would consider is that I think because you had the bully tight end happen,
Right.
and it's actually a pretty good pick here because I think receivers are the same. And it just
I was going to suggest tight end because of that. I
Yeah.
think that's the biggest thing you would feel like you lost, and you're probably flat otherwise, like Zach said.
I'm really glad you mentioned that. I think that's definitely how I want to play it. Let's grab Andrews here. And then, I just don't think I like London. But I don't know if I'm going to feel that much different about the wide receiver I take in the early third.
Yeah. Is he really all that different to you than Chris Olave or Nico Collins or, Ayuk or Waddle? Like probably not. But the difference between Mark Andrews and Kyle Pitts feels pretty large. And I can tell you
if Andrews and Pitts both went on this turn, then you would have been.
Yeah, you're in a world of hurt. You're cobbling something together with later guys. So
let me set the table a little bit more for people who are new to FFPC. So it is 18 rounds, but obviously you have the tight end premium, hence all the tight ends going. There are 2 flexes. So in this format, you could start up to 4 running backs. You could start 4 tight ends. You can start 4 wide receivers. So it's more like an equal plane as far as the flex stuff. Otherwise, pretty similar as far as like overall roster construction dynamics, I would assume, kind of from a Best Ball Mania outlook, if that's how people are viewing it. And then as far as the rewards, I'm pretty sure each individual winner gets a main event ticket into next year if you win your individual league. And then there might be a top prize too. Does that sound right, Gretch?
Something I can't remember at all.
Yeah.
I don't think I've won one of these. We got second last year in mine. Me and Sean are drafting tomorrow night. We'll be over on the Stealing Signals YouTube for anyone who wants to hang for that.
Awesome.
I mean, really the biggest motivator here though, Pete, is I feel like you were being disrespected in the lines that were being set for who was going to come out on top of this Pros versus Joes league. So this is just all about
what did we get?
I think I was 10-1. I was like middle of the pack odds relative. I was not the longest, but I was also not the shortest there. So we're playing with a chip on our shoulder tonight. Let's see here. So we have a couple running back starts. There's the Bijan Barkley team, the Breece Henry team, and the Gibbs Achane team. And we are almost on the clock. London does go. Chris Olave, Adams, Waddle. So this is going to be putting me at looking at like, is Nico here? Nico here feels good, right?
Yeah. Nico, I'm guessing Mike Evans is another.
Yeah.
Malik Neighbors, but probably Nico's the pick.
Yeah, Nico looks like a smash here. For me, it would be either Nico or Ayuk. And it's just dealer's choice, really.
Yeah. Let's grab Nico there. Feel good about that pick. And now looking back on that 2v2.
Feels
London,
real good.
London Pitts or Andrews Nico. Yeah. And correlation on both of those.
There is a very small. You could have made an argument here to just starve the beast and just take Pitts here over Nico if you're feeling really spicy. But I think Nico's the way I would have played it.
Yeah. Thank you, Henry, for always. I believe it. Hang on. Does it just have 20 on the board, but it's only 18 rounds? Sacrilegious.
No, it's 20 rounds.
It is 20. Okay. For some reason, I had in my head it was 18. My bad. 20 rounds. So it is 2 extra rounds there.
The weird thing on FFPC is there's some rooms where you're in where you are taking guys that you normally would take in the 17th and 16th round on underdog in the 20th. You're like, this is a gift. I just got like
Right.
4 extra players that I'm really excited about. And then there's rooms where it's like, oh my God, it's a wasteland. Everyone's super sharp. Like there hasn't been a good click in forever. You're just scrolling real deep.
I can already tell this is going to be a fun room because we have 2 of the Joes who have started with 3 straight running backs. We got one of the pros who started with 2 tight ends. So lots of people trying out different strategies here. And there's another bully tight end team, Ingram to the Kincaid drafter, and Kyle Pitts went smack dab there in the 3rd round of the Chase and Marvin Harrison team.
I think that's a really compelling move in best ball when you get the tight end premium and with how strong, I believe, and I think most everyone sort of believes the elite tight ends are. I mean, I might be playing that heavier than most, honestly. When you look at like my underdog portfolio, I'm playing it in almost every single draft, one of those like top 7-ish tight ends. But in this format, especially, like if you can starve the beast a little, it's way more practical for them to hit the flex. I think it's Todd did it pretty early at the 12-13. And then
because it's like you're giving up. Like, do you really want to give up Puka? Like
Right.
You could do Puka McBride or Puka Laporta and be in a really good spot. Because your first wide receiver here, like, yeah, you're not sad that you're taking, Malik Neighbors or whoever he takes here. But I don't know. I feel a little better getting a wide receiver of Puka's caliber there.
Yeah. What have you noticed? Like, what are the quarterback dynamics in these?
They feel like they go a little later. Part of that is from tight end premium. The kind of middling quarterbacks, I feel like the rooms often like just follow suit. Like you just got to see how the room's going to play it. Because I've had rooms where everyone gets their early quarterback and then everyone's just kind of sitting on their hands and not going to take a quarterback for a long, long time. And then just a big run happens. Like Drico and I had a draft where I want to say it was like in the 14th round or the 13th round, something like that. There was not a single wide receiver or running back taken. It was all quarterbacks and tight ends for the entire round. And it was actually more than that round. I think it was 15 straight picks or quarterback or tight end, no running back or wide receiver. So runs definitely happen more on FFPC, I would say. The other like really key thing that I've been trying to do more is I like to think of wide receivers kind of like dessert on FFPC, where you really want to save room for them at the end because the pricing is really, really inefficient on FFPC in the later rounds at wide receiver. Some of the biggest ones would be like you can get AD Mitchell in the 17th or 18th round. And so it's like you need to have slots open on your roster where you can feel good about adding more receivers. And that's one of the tricky parts on FFPC. You're going to feel good clicking receiver a lot early. And so you might be through 9 rounds with 7 receivers. And then you're in round 17 and you're like, oh my gosh, Jalen Polk's here in round 17. And I really feel like I can't click him because I need to take, my second quarterback here or whatever.
Yeah.
I've done a few of these industry drafts, so I think that's really good insight to add a little color. I would expect the quarterbacks to definitely go late. And I do wonder if those inefficient ADPs will last with some of the people that are playing on other platforms here in this room.
And it is something like seeing how these running backs are flying off the shelf. Like I'm clearly staring down the barrel of a 0 RB team. Not that I'm remotely uncomfortable with that, but it is then starting to think, to your point, like I really need to start prioritizing probably like as much quarterback and tight end as I can too. Just knowing like I'm going to want to have some of those wide receiver slots available later.
We're setting ourselves up really well for this is like one of my favorite positions to be in for quarterback because we'll very likely take another player here that either is stacking with our existing bets or opening up another very good quarterback option that we like.
Yeah.
And then you can just be comfortable pushing quarterback. You're like, if I don't get Lamar, that's okay because I've got Stroud that can come back. If I don't get that, that's okay. I've got Tua or whoever else we open up that's going to come back.
We do see our first quarterback come off the board, Allen Ferguson. Stephon Diggs feels like a smash for this team here. What do you guys think?
To me, he's still in the tier above DJ Moore, Pittman, even Devonta Smith to me. I don't know. I don't understand Stephon Diggs' current fall on underdog. It makes no sense to me. So,
yeah, I would hammer Diggs here.
Yeah, let's do it. So we get the our second Houston wide receiver. So we start Tyreek Hill, then grab Mark Andrews, then Nico, and Stephon Diggs comes to us here. And I guess like technically by ADP, it's actually slightly ahead. But man, they must not like Stephon Diggs here. Holy cow!
I think you got that X drafter is one of the Joes that you probably Joe here. I don't know if it's the 3 or the 5 hole, but you got a hyper fragile build forming in the 3 hole. You got a 3 straight running back plus Jake Ferguson build out of the 5 hole.
Yeah.
Fascinating room. It's opening up some wide receiver values.
I was gonna say if Jalen Hurts made it back to us, I think you just take Jalen Hurts in the 5th round because it's like that's where he should go, And I noticed that it happens on FFPC and it happens on DraftKings for whatever reason. I feel like people just have recency bias, like Jalen Hurts didn't finish that strong last year. It's like, okay, I'll take all the Jalen Hurts you'll give me in the 5th round.
Yeah.
I think
so the team we're talking about in the 3 did Bijan, Barkley, ETN, then Jacobs. Hurts does go, like Zach said, their second to last pick in this round. Then Patrick Mahomes goes to the turn drafter, and then they come back with Higgins. What do we think? Would we just lock up the Lamar if he comes back here?
I would have a lean towards Stroud over Lamar in this build personally. I also because this isn't a playoff format. This is total points, right? And you're making a bet on Nico and Diggs in a way that, to me, I would be more leaning towards Stroud, which means I'd maybe let Lamar go and try to get Stroud at the 6-7. Was the way I would think about it. But
the only thing I do in this room, I would not be surprised if someone sets up like a Tank.
Yeah,
Stroud. Oh, there goes Tank right there.
Oh, interesting.
So maybe that's less likely. Yeah. You think these drafters will take naked Stroud?
They might. Dude,
usually the way that it goes for me is I will push Lamar here because you have outs to both Lamar and Stroud. And you do have the backup out of, hey, if Tua is your consolation prize stacked with Tyreek, that feels perfectly fine to me. So I try to push it to extract a lot of value from it. Because if you get Lamar back, you're just windmilling it in. And I think there's some really good players here.
So it would probably be Zay.
Yeah,
I'd probably take Zay and then just see if I can hit one of the double stacks.
That's what I would do.
Smash.
Yeah.
That feels awesome.
Let's do it.
I
think it's like less than 15% Lamar comes back, but it's probably worth that 15%.
I'll say this: going into week 14, you're going to have the lead. I'm not sure what's going to be after week 14. But going into week 14, you're gonna be in a good spot.
It does make me feel better to have the Tank drafter behind me, though. That's really nice.
There's one other player I would have considered here, but I don't want to say it just because it could get back to us.
Okay.
I'll put it in the chat here. But.
Anyone try the high draft strategy tonight? Not me. I did a little overnight trip with some buddies last night, so I had all my fun and debauchery for the weekend last night.
Yeah, I did yesterday. So those people who popped onto my stream yesterday, I had like 50 drafts after this golf tournament yesterday. I was very drunk and tried to jump on and have the chat make my picks for me. That was my stream on the Stealing Signals YouTube channel yesterday.
I was going to say,
hung out for a bit.
Yeah, someone mentioned, or I saw someone reference that, and I was like, wait, what did you do? Because you were golfing all day, right?
I was golfing all day. I was way behind on my picks, and I was legit drunk. And I was like, I don't want to make these picks. I'm just gonna go live and have the chat help, like whoever's around, to like tell me what picks I'm seeing and not seeing.
Did you actually take their help, or?
Yeah. So I took my first shares of Zeke of the year. I took a Tony Pollard when Crane was on. I haven't drafted him yet. These are like the flashy memories I had this morning. Were like, God, I took a lot of shitty players yesterday. But yeah, I let Jesus take the wheel a little bit yesterday. It was quite fun.
So Sig does take Lamar there at 5'10". that dream goes down. But I like the way we played this and getting another high upside wide receiver option here.
The chat's also reminding me that I took a shit ton of Javante and a shit ton of Bowers. All my slows are right in that range, and I was just hammering those two guys.
Let's see here. So Anthony Richardson also comes off the board, seeing some more running backs: James Cook, Joe Mixon, Rashad White, Aaron Jones, Ramondre Stevenson.
This is a super micro thing, but on FFPC, just because it is ever so slightly a boost in scoring format to the pocket passers, like you get more points for passing yardage. I do, that's one of the reasons I'm willing to push Lamar a little bit more, because it's like I think there might not be as large a difference between Lamar and Stroud in this format.
Gotcha. Yeah,
that's a great point. I just looked at the chat and saw that you had the guy you were saying you didn't want to say you put in the chat was Bowers, and then I mentioned him. I broke the cardinal sin of mentioning a name.
Oh, I mean, I knew he wasn't getting back to us. It was snowball's chance in hell to get back to us at 6:09. But I was thinking about him over Zay, just because really, like, once Bowers is gone here, it's like the last one that you even really feel good about is kind of like Dallas Goedert, and then it starts to get very gross. So like the guys in the 1, 2, and 3 hole, 2 of them are going to be really sad. 2 of them are going to have teams that are just going to have a really hard time competing because of tight end. I'm interested to see how the rock fight shakes out there for who gets.
Are you pretty out on Njoku? I take it.
He's fine. I just think that like where he goes on FFPC is a little expensive relative to like what he is compared to the other guys that you can get. So he's fine. Like if I was one of the 1, 2, or 3 hole, I'm certainly not going to turn my nose up at David Njoku when I'm in that spot.
Yeah.
So let's see. We had Terry McLaurin go, Christian Kirk, Chris Godwin. A lot of these bully tight end and running back drafters swinging back to wide receiver here. And there goes CJ Stroud naked.
Oh,
it happens.
Unstacked.
Yeah.
I mean, you're all, steel on the exterior. I'm going to feel it for you. That was brutal.
Well, this makes me wonder, with how much, again, looking at this tier of wide receiver, there's definitely some wide receivers I like. I wonder if this would be like a detour spot for like Kenneth Walker. Just again, trying to think through of like, if I just blast off all of my wide receiver slots, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, you'd be getting him after like Aaron Jones and Ramondre went the last turn. He goes before those guys typically, right? Over on Underdog, Mixon, White. I like him in that group. It seems like a good price relative to that stuff.
He's a big ADP value here. He does not go this late. The latest he's gone is pick 70. So, just a spot after us. So this is like one of the latest he's ever gone in the entire tournament. So I'd take that.
I think that just feels good because I know I'm gonna like one of the wide receivers in the early 7th here. It looks like the only guy available with a higher ADP than him was Kamara. Is still on the board.
That was a really nice value. I mean, if you think about the structure too, as you were saying, like you already have a lot of receivers. You didn't want to just blast off all those spots. Like getting that anchor, like dead zone-y anchor back out of ADP value when he's actually a profile you like is pretty nice for the build, right?
Well, there goes Dallas Goedert. So best of luck to the 1 and 3 hole. I'll be interested to see who's drafting Lucas Kroll of the two.
Yeah, I think Matt with Hurts in the 4th was praying Goddard. When you said that about Goddard, I was like, I'm sure he's hoping he gets him back.
He usually goes a little later than this, but I'm not. I would do it too if I was the 2 hole.
4 teams already have two tight ends.
Yeah,
and there's like a bunch of others that don't have any. It's a wild draft so far in that regard. Imbalanced tight end picking.
Yeah, now this starts to feel like a little bit of a Wild West territory for ADP stuff.
The good news is I think there's a couple really good values still on the board. And now that Kamara is gone, you're pretty much guaranteed to get one of these really good picks. So that's always nice.
Gonna load up my queue here as
this is what
one of them.
I get to be the voice of the chat and be like, I wonder who those are, because I can't see behind the scenes right now. I'm like, man.
So Rashi Rice does go at
He
this
would've been
6-7 turn to the 1 hole.
I miss the days where you used to be able to get Rashi in the 9th and 10th round on FFPC.
Yeah, man, he is just a screamer these days.
Well, I mean, his price never made any sense where it was going.
Yeah.
It was insane. We didn't even have confirmation of suspension.
So I would say my favorite guy here is probably Jaden Reed. Do you see anything else on the board here? I mean, a couple other names, I think there's a chance they could come back that are pretty interesting.
Yeah, the other ones that are interesting can come back, and some of the other ones that I'm looking at that are interesting don't open up a quarterback like Jaden Reed does.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for us because 4 of our picks don't have quarterbacks attached to them that we can still draft. So Reed is a smash here.
Yeah, one of my favorite clicks on Underdog. I like getting him here, and yeah, I'm really glad we're able to grab Walker there. I think this build just obviously would have liked the receiver there, but I think it would have just limited our flexibility through some of these mid rounds.
Yeah, at this point, this is where I'm probably pumping the brakes on receiver, which is going to be really painful. Next round, it's going to come back to us. The best pick on the board is going to be a receiver, and we're going to have to just watch it go. But it'll pay off in the end. I mean, even if this room is more aggressive on some of the really mispriced players, I think that we've got enough people that are, doing stuff like being really aggressive on running back where there's still going to be some wide receiver value we'll be happy to capitalize on later.
Yep. So the team here for our audio listeners, Tyreek Hill, round 1, Mark Andrews, round 2. And then we had 3 straight receivers, Nico, Diggs, Zay Flowers. The Lamar and Stroud dream died there. And then we grabbed Kenneth Walker and Jaden Reed to round out the team. But with that tight end and with that wide running back, we still have plenty of optionality here in the chamber.
I'm sorry, but the unstacked Stroud pick still kind of tilting. It's you're trying to win not just this league, but it's this Pros vs. Joes contest. There's 7 or 8 different leagues. You're trying to get the overall top points. Stroud's a drop back passer. If he is worth the 6th round price tag, you have to have Nico, Diggs, or Tank Dell. And then you take Freiermuth over Dalton Schultz right there. I mean, that's crazy. You would have to take Dalton Schultz there to justify it, in my opinion. That guy's not winning the overall thing. It's just there's not enough correlation. There's all these other drafts where Stroud's going to be picked with one of his earlier receivers. And if he is the full season 5,000-yard passer, you want one of those receivers. I just think it's I don't know. We obviously know this happens.
And you kind of set your team up there, not to pick on our drafter Scott here, but with Jefferson, Metcalf, Cooper, and 2 early running backs, you probably need to catch up at wide receiver, and you have 3 late quarterback options as well with that start.
That's right.
But we're over it, right? We're over it. We've moved on.
You need to open your third eye and view Noah Brown as the wide receiver that you need with the CJ Stroud stack. Famously was one of your best weeks on the Underdog Dailies, right, Pete? I remember drafting in some rooms with you, seeing you do the Noah Brown, Tank Dell stuff. It's like, man, I get scrolling down, but what the heck is Pete doing with Noah Brown? And then sure enough.
Yeah, those were... I mean, and the thing was, there were weeks where you didn't even have to do Noah Brown. You could just do Tank Dell and Schultz, because Nico would be drafted in everyone, and everyone was 5% tank or whatever. For people asking, yes, this is a best ball league. Thank the Lord. We're going to have enough managed leagues to deal with here. Working on a summer Sunday. I know you guys are so blessed. And like Gretch said, if you guys want to watch his Pros vs. Joes with Sean, that's going to be on the Stealing Signals YouTube tomorrow. Jordan Love goes unstacked.
That's a painful
29.
one.
It is. It does
The,
feel
the
painful.
What are we
420
doing, people?
Express. Oof.
The 420 Express.
Gotta live a little.
I'm gonna get on the 420 Express if my quarterbacks keep getting spanked here.
Jesus.
So it is, yeah, for thing, and it's like this is going back to, I assume you alluded to another pick, I believe, when we took Zay. I'm guessing it was T, about opening up a Burrow selection, like having Burrow in our pocket right now. If I could go flip that just for the quarterback option, I would right now.
Yeah.
We went before Zay. It was Bowers.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
You were
yeah,
alluding
that's
to?
true. Yeah, Bowers was the one I was alluding to. And then when we got to Jaden Reed, one of the ones I was alluding to, well, they actually both go. One of the ones I was alluding to was Xavier Worthy. The other one was Roma Dunze. So Worthy without the quarterback, Dunze with the quarterback.
Yeah.
And JSN goes way higher than ADP here. I actually realized after I said that I was the voice of the chat that I have Pete's login, so I could just something I have that the chat doesn't have is the ability to go look at the
Yeah, you do have
the
that.
queue. So I'm looking at the queue. It's pretty picked through at receiver now. I mean, it's not. You were thinking, Zach, that there'd be a clear pick here. I guess there's one.
I was hoping
That is-
Worthy would come back.
I thought he
Touchdown
might.
today.
I wasn't
Touchdown
wanting to
today
say
on Twitter.
anything.
Him and JSN looked way down the list by ADP, but they both know.
There's a couple receivers here still that are really appealing, but I would not be taking them here.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, the two names I'm thinking. I mean, what do we think about the Jayden Daniels stuff? Like, as far as getting a quarterback for this team?
I was gonna say try to push Jaden Daniels around the turn, but I was gonna say that in the chat so that we didn't have to say Jaden Daniels out loud. The other one that I would consider would be Jonathan Brooks here.
That's the name, man.
I do like it, but it's full season points. It's not back-weighted production. It's full season points scored, right?
I think it's probably fine though. I mean, this is still
best ball. Yeah. If he's good down the stretch, he's still a really useful piece to a best ball build because you're figuring your running back room actually starts to get some.
If you're really worried about it, then we take Daniels here first because there's a couple other RBs that I like. You know, if you're worried about the back weighting.
Well, I guess I'm not as much. I'm more trying to think who has the best chance of coming back, and I don't know with this 3-drafter. This 3-drafter can do anything. The thing, like the Lamb drafter still has Dak. Oh, well, now he doesn't. Dak goes.
Dak
does go.
Unstacked, and then Brooks goes. Brooks is a nice pick in best ball. I've taken him in the marathon over on underdog. I kind of probably shouldn't have said that because I think it layers in really nicely, actually, because you're expecting some attrition with your other running backs. They give you early season points. He gives you back weighted. There's almost like a pro to him not really playing a lot early on, right? Like you're going to get usable weeks down the stretch. That's great. That's actually something that is hard to lock in from most running back builds.
Yep. Yeah, man. I guess if I know that drafter snap picks Dak, then maybe the Hurts and Mahomes guys aren't. But I guess I have a hard time profiling what teams are going to do in this format. Like I think Daniels was a couple.
Yeah.
I think Daniels is a very good pick.
Yeah. Very good pick.
It immediately alleviates. Yeah, it alleviates a bunch of our pain in this room, which was, oh no, we don't have a great ability to get a good stat quarterback.
Mm-hmm. And way different. Yeah, exactly. Way different than the Stroud conversation. He's not a drop back passer. He's going to score through rushing. You don't have his forward momentum for a huge season doesn't have to include a receiver necessarily. He could throw for 3,800 yards and be the QB1 if he ends up rushing for like 1,200 yards, which he could do right away. It wouldn't be that crazy.
Yeah. So so Najee goes, as does TJ Hawkinson at the 8-9. That's the one hole scrambling for a tight end. Brandon Cooks comes off the board here. So there is the name that Gretch mentioned in the chat, but I do like Zach Moss here. I think a good bit. And again, if the thought is we're going to continue to like some of these wide receivers available, I think getting a second running back feels good.
Yeah, I really like Zach Moss here. I think that puts you in a pretty strong position.
Yeah. So our past 2 picks, Jaden Daniels and Zach Moss. So we have 2 running backs, Moss and Walker. We got our 1 quarterback, Jaden Daniels, our 1 tight end, Mark Andrews, and still our 5 wide receivers, Tyreek Hill, Nico Collins, Diggs, Flowers, and Jaden Reed.
I've been clicking Moss a lot more in the last couple of days in that range that all my slows are in. And I don't want to because I don't think he's particularly good. I don't think his efficiency metrics last year are super helpful because I felt like he had a couple long runs, a couple big plays, a couple moments that were like you or I could have ran through these holes, basically. Like he was not explosive. And yet I do feel very confident the Bengals are going to have running back points. And if Chase Brown's not it, and I'm taking plenty of Chase Brown too, Zach Moss at this price, like if he just gets a lot of work, Joe Mixon never added anything efficiency wise, right? Like if Joe Mixon at this price would be going, people were saying Joe Mixon the last few years was way underpriced in the 5-6 round range. You're getting Zach Moss in the 9th. If he gets anything like the Joe Mixon workload, it just feels really, really nice.
Yeah.
He's probably a little bit worse as a player than Joe Mixon was, 2 years ago when people were saying he was underpriced in the 5-6 range. But it's like, okay, and we just took him in the 9th, so it seems fair.
It seems great.
Brock Purdy
Especially
comes
in
off the board.
best ball.
Brian Thomas was another name we were kind of floating around. He goes to Theo there.
Yeah, that was a great pick.
He would have been nice too to keep to open up Lawrence. Brian Robinson comes off the board, Devin Singletary, and Jamison Williams. So I wouldn't say this draft is breaking perfectly, but I feel pretty strong with this team so far.
I think for the curveballs that you got tossed, you're hitting pretty well here. So
yeah, I think the suggestion. I think getting the Mark Andrews and the Kenneth Walker there have made this feel less like we had, there's versions where this is like a 0 RB team that like absolutely needs those quarterbacks to get unlocked because then we don't have wide receiver spots to build out more backdoor stacks. And now we actually have that still. Let's see, every team except Team 8 has at least 1 quarterback. Stacy, no quarterbacks, although with Evan Ingram there, she seems like a candidate for Lawrence or Goff.
I mean, I got to say, this hasn't fallen to you in any kind of perfect way.
No.
But your team looks really good despite that. You have a really nice balance right now through 9 rounds. You got a QB that you like. You got a tight end that you like. You got 2 running backs, 5 receivers. I think that makes a lot of sense through 9 rounds. A lot of different directions you can go.
Zach, in this spot, when you have Jaden Daniels, how many times do you have a 2 QB versus 3 QB team?
This year, more often do I get to 3 QB than I would have last year, but it's really just a byproduct of the landscape where there are a lot of late quarterback options that have a legitimate ceiling, in my opinion, to where I'm adding them not as a 3rd QB to make me feel safer to build for floor. It's a player that's there to add ceiling to my roster. So it's definitely a different dynamic than last season. Last season, I was a pretty strong proponent of really just taking 2 quarterbacks in almost every build. And that was even when I was doing guys like, hey, I'm taking Sam Howell and Jordan Love, and those are my 2 quarterbacks, and that's fine, which worked out okay last year. But this year, there's just more guys going late that I really like. So I'm willing to toss those ones on as a pure upside play.
Yeah, I'm looking at the board now. I'm not seeing – I guess there's one interesting wide receiver name, kind of a flat tier of running backs. I do like I think the Tua to stack up with Tyreek Hill makes a decent amount of sense. I mean, Schauf out of the 2 has been sniping me a ton. He already has Waddle. There's a really good chance Tua's not coming back around. I mean, do you guys see any opportunity cost to taking Tua here?
There's a player, but I think you're fine. I think there's a couple things that you can do around the turn. You're not going to miss. There's going to be a good pick otherwise after the turn. So I think you take Tua here. And then we're very comfy sitting on 2 quarterbacks. And then we are in the position where a third is a pure luxury for ceiling.
I mean, you probably just gave up Javonte Williams, which was probably the biggest mistake you could have made.
We don't want to say Javonte Williams out loud, Gretch. That's
I didn't know you were in on him too. Everyone's telling me he's a bad pick over the last few days. So
he's maybe like my 3rd or 4th highest drafted running back.
Hell yeah.
I got a gang of Javonte.
There we go.
The best news that I saw all week was the article from someone that just was postulating that Javonte may be cut in favor of Samaje Perine. I wanted to share that one with everyone that I could.
So I got back. That was yesterday. Apparently, yesterday morning while I was golfing, I got back drunk, got on stream, and had like Steph and all these people in my chat telling me that Javonte is going to get cut, and it was not a fun moment. But I kept drafting him. They were like, "We're going to have an intervention." No,
you had the alcohol clarity to know that report was false. No, yeah, it's like Troy Rennick or whatever his name is, Denver beat reporter, and it was like it's just speculation. Seemed like a pretty wild take, but
it was one of those, hey guys, wouldn't this be crazy if this happens?
Yeah.
My column.
Yeah. My column. Yeah, Steph's right. She was saying that I should wait on him. I was reaching, and I was like, nope. I'm just gonna blow through all the red lights, and just keep taking him ahead of ADP.
Yeah, if I had CJ Stroud, this would probably be a pretty good place to take Dalton Schultz. I do not.
It'd be a great spot to take Schultz. I think the other one you could justify would be Komet, who I just recently got a little more scared of taking, but it's tight end premium and it's getting dicey, and beggars can't be choosers. He also doesn't have a week 14 bye where Schultz does. So
the profile is really strong on Komet. I'll say the advanced metrics, the per route run stuff actually was a lot better last year than I think he gets credit for. People are really concerned about Gerald Everett, but what if Gerald Everett's bad? Pat actually told me yesterday when he came on the stream that Gerald Everett kind of quietly was another guy put on the NFI list yesterday.
He did go on NFI, yeah.
Yeah.
People are really confident that Komet's not going to get enough work, and like his profile in and of itself is pretty strong. So I think you have to be pretty confident that you have the read of volume correct.
Yeah, I like this. I think there's like 1 or 2 tight ends that could be in our back pocket late that makes sense for this team, but doesn't preclude us. I mean, do you have any teams where you've done like a 4 tight end build with, say, similar draft capital that we've spent so far?
Yeah, I'd definitely stop at 4 here. But you can stop at 4 or you can stop at 3. It's just like be willing to take the tight end if that's the best player available. Yeah. One of the cool things about FFPC as a format is the 2 flex spots actually really open up what you can do from a roster construction standpoint and have it still be good. There's just a lot less you can do on underdog that's good. Like there's, you can get flexible. There's lots of viable builds, but when you are on FFPC, there are a ton of viable builds. Like you could end up with a hyper fragile running back room with just 4 on this and end up with something like 5 tight ends and 3 quarterback, like you can have some really strange looking constructions here and have them still be good.
So when this Scott guy out of the 7 hole took Stroud, and then took Freiermuth, and I'd say took Freiermuth over Schultz. Doesn't Schultz go ahead of Freiermuth on an underdog, or am I just crazy?
He does, but on FFPC, he does not. FFPC loves Pat Freiermuth. I don't know exactly why. It may just be more of a, he's a real lunch pail type guy, and so it's more on brand here. But yeah, Freiermuth does go
4 rounds after Freiermuth on FFPC. That's crazy.
Yeah, this Schultz was an ADP value here. He usually goes around pick 105, so he's actually a pretty substantial value here. I'm pretty surprised 3 didn't take him. Honestly, 3 needed to jump on that like it was a gift, because it was. But I mean, good on 7 for capitalizing.
Anytime you can stack up Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir at the turn when you don't have Josh Allen, I mean. Gotta make that happen.
Eckler finally comes off the board. He was a big faller by ADP. Yeah, this This next pick seems like it's probably going to land in a sweet spot for running back, but we shall see. I had been eyeing Charbonnet.
Zach typing in the private chat is so loud on the mic.
I'll have to mute Mike next time I decide to type away. Well, all the guys I'm putting in the private chat are just going right off the board. I typed Charbonnet would be a smash. If he doesn't make it, we can do Musgrave and be done at 3 tight ends here. So I'm just jinxing all of the picks that I want.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, like Charbonnet with Walker, I think it's just but getting that huge ADP value there just locks up that entire backfield that we know is going to be fully condensed.
Yeah, Charbonnet like 20 picks past ADP was what I was interested in.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think he would make it back to us, but he just kept sliding. It's like maybe people in this room just don't like him. But...
Yeah. You know who's still on the board? Sacrilegious.
I don't think we need him. Actually, that's when we should say his name. We want someone to take him.
Yeah, Jerry Jeudy still available.
Yep. All right, let's play a game. How much Jerry Jeudy do I have?
Jerry Jeudy so much. This is something I want to get to the bottom of.
How much Jerry Jeudy do I have through 1,100 drafts?
Across every site?
Yeah.
I think you've taken him like twice.
What do you think, Gretch?
23 times.
Let's see. Yeah, it's right about 23. I got like 5% Jerry Jeudy. So
wow, fake Jerry Jeudy hater in the quiet of night.
Wait, you said 1,100, so that would be 22. I almost nailed that.
Yeah. That's very eerie, Gretch.
You got the Jerry Jeudy comfort blanket on. Well, because he is a good play. I know that you're smart enough to recognize that you have an irrational personal hate of a player that's also a good play.
I think he's bad, but I also think that the cost that I'm having to pay for a bad player is fine, given
it's affordable enough to get 5%. Right. I have to do it too sometimes. It's not fun.
All right, we are coming up here on our 12th round pick. Our past couple picks have been Cole Kmet and Tua. We see 3 tight ends come off the board, including one that would have been a stack partner for us, Jonnu Smith. Zeke now comes off the board. I have a running back I'm eyeing here, guys.
Hell yeah. I would run to the podium for him. You put him in the queue, right?
Yeah, I was thinking Kendre Miller. I doubt this drafter is going to take a running back here with 3 and Gus, but you never know. You like Kendre here, Sack?
Yeah, Kendre is definitely a good fit for the team. We need running back. We definitely could use running backs with good upside, which Kendre has. He's one of the players that I've kind of gone back and forth on.
That's the other one I was looking at.
But
he did go running back.
Yeah, Kendre, he's definitely a scary click. But you
really had to think through it. It was so scary that you took him in 2 seconds.
Well, I was kind of triggered because I was like, I don't think this person is going to select a running back, and then they took Jalen Wright. So they left Kendre, but still took. And Jalen Wright would have been a nice fit for our team.
With the stack. Right. With the Tua thing I was going to mention, he's the other one that I would have definitely considered there.
Yeah, I mean, just looking, he had about his ADP is like 10 picks later. So I would have thought if we were able to get both, you grab Kendre first, but.
There's a lot of concern around Kendre, and I get it, but I still think if you have a 21-year-old rookie going into age 22 season, had the profile he had, and has the competition he has, that you know, from an anti-fragile perspective, you would expect things to break in his favor throughout the season.
For sure, and that's why I've been clicking. I think I'm at like 13 or 14% Kendre. I had probably close to 40% last year. And like at this point through last season, I had around 40% Kendre, definitely a couple Toyota Corollas worth of Kendre last year. So this, not fully PTSD off Kendre, but yeah, I'm still clicking him, just wanting to. Really, for me, it's what if the answer on the Saints is none of the above? That's the thing that I'm scared of. I think Kamara could be really bad. I think we know what Jamal Williams is. And it's just, if Kendre is not it, it might just be that none of these guys is a good pick.
Do much, yeah.
Especially with Ramczyk missing the season, that's pretty scary.
So since we picked Noah Fant comes off the board, Jacoby Myers, Matthew Stafford, Hunter Henry, seeing the tight ends that have all come off the board so quickly after Kmet sure makes him look like a strong pick.
Yep.
And wow,
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, another running back here, Ty Chandler looking good.
Yeah, I'm super excited to get Ty Chandler here. I feel like he fits really well for what we need.
Yeah, there's nothing. I mean, there's a couple wide receiver guys,
A
but
couple
there's
rookie
some
running backs that you
elite-
could maybe consider, but Chandler's a good pick for sure.
Yeah, Ty Chandler, his ADP's at 137. So this is, what pick number are we at here? I mean, we're past 144, like 147. Yeah. So almost 10 picks past ADP in a starved running back room. I think that makes sense. We get Ty Chandler and now have Kenneth Walker, Zach Moss, Kendre, and Ty.
He's weirdly undervalued. There's something that has come up a few spots as I've gone through projections that I think is worth emphasizing, and I don't think it's talked about enough. And it's just the idea of like depth chart depth, right? Like behind Ty Chandler, all they have right now is Kenane Nwangwu, who was a special teamer in college. I don't think he ever had 100 touches in offensive touches in a college season. Everyone wanted him to be something last year. He's just an athletic special teamer, probably. Dwayne McBride, who they had last year, didn't use. Miles Gaskin, who they had off and on, kept cutting and bringing back last year, didn't use. They had Ty Chandler ahead of all those guys. They played him ahead of all those guys. They brought in Aaron Jones. I feel very confident Ty Chandler is the RB2, and I think he's going to have some standalone value. But as far as contingent value, like a lot of times we get the handcuffs wrong, and I don't think people talk enough about when the RB3 is like this. The other spot that I've been thinking a lot about this with is the Rams. Like I think Blake Corum is like kind of being slept on. People are scared of Kyren, but Corum still just kind of floats in like this area where, like, if we're scared of Kyren and Corum could actually have standalone value, he's definitely the handcuff because they still only have Ronnie Rivers, Zach Evans. They brought in Boston Scott, another special teamser. If Kyren goes down, I think Corum plays the 90% of snaps that Kyren was playing last year. Like, there's just no one. Like, last year when Kyren went down, they went to Darrell Henderson and Royce Freeman, right? Like, so these spots where there's a really clear divide between the RB2 and the RB3, I think it's a big bump for the RB2's overall profile.
Yeah, and that, I mean, I kind of extend that to, like, if you're looking at the Chiefs situation, it's like the third running back that the Chiefs are going to carry is a guy who's going to be doing kickoffs for them. And I don't mean playing special teams. I mean, he's literally going to be the guy that is kicking the ball off because kickers will take more contact with the new kickoff rules. And that is one of the things that they thought Luis Reese-Snead could bring to the team, that, hey, this guy plays rugby, he can kick and he can tackle. That's going to be great for us with the new special teams rules. So the guy you have to worry about jumping CEH on the depth chart is the kicker. So, like, it's good. Don't like, but yeah, I think that's a great point, Ben. And listening to you talk about Corum on one of your recent shows you did with Sean got me to, I mean, I never stopped clicking him, but now I'm just clicking him with a little more fervor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have been lately too, after talking with Sean, talking with Leone in the projections pod. I left that conversation, and I don't think I said it enough on that projections pod, but I left that conversation like, I got to get more Corum. It's just
I think you guys had the point of like any running back going in that zero running back pocket. If the starter ahead of them got hurt, which running back would actually jump the most?
Yeah.
And like, it is definitely, I love that point about Corum. Like he probably just literally backfills Kyren's ADP. Because Kyren has been a proxy for starting Rams running back himself, right? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that's how the market handled that. I mean,
but Ty's another good example of the same thing. Not necessarily with Aaron Jones, but if Aaron Jones were out, I think Ty goes just as high. Like, I mean, who's coming for Ty on the Vikings roster? The Chiefs roster, Zach, we got to be worried about Kadarius Toney. I don't know if you've been hearing the news today.
Yeah, that one, I am not that scared about Kadarius Toney getting any kind of meaningful snaps in the 2024 season.
The Chiefs are in like the save face mode of that trade for Kadarius Toney, where you have to like, no, we still got something for him. We definitely have plans.
Oh, such a fun trade, though. God, remember? I mean, it wasn't even. it wasn't that far removed from his whatever, like 14 target game or something, where he was just, I mean, he was it. I sold him for a haul in Dynasty.
So it seems like the pendulum's probably swinging back to wide receiver here. There's multiple rookies. There's some ADP fallers. No one's seriously taken Jerry Jeudy yet.
Jerry Jeudy.
That's hilarious.
Oh, we're gonna have to take stupid Jerry Jeudy on this team.
Having Zach, AD Mitchell goes. So Judy's ADP is 144, and we're now almost 2 rounds past that.
Yeah, we're almost at 168.
It's Jeudy or like Mike. I mean, if you could talk.
Oh my
Mike
God,
Williams.
it's stupid Jerry Jeudy.
It's Jeudy. It's so Jeudy. Jeudy should be going ahead of like
Jerry
Khalil
Jeudy.
Shakir. Yeah.
This is dumb.
I mean, having Sack on to rubber stamp a Jerry Jeudy.
Time to mad that he has.
This click feels so good.
One of my biggest regrets was I think like the very first show that I ever did on Ship Chasing Airwaves. We were doing a main event draft, and we're sitting there. It's like the 4-5 turn, and everyone's so excited about Jerry Jeudy. And I really wanted to say, this guy sucks. Don't take him. But I was trying to be agreeable. I was like, Jerry Jeudy seems good to me, guys. And he just went on to torpedo our squad. And I'll never live it down.
Oh,
should have said it with my chest.
Well,
so
it's different in the 14th, 15th.
Yes, it is. It was a great pick here. Like as much as I want to pretend that it was paining me to click Jerry Jeudy, like that was a smash. So
that was a great pick.
I didn't.
He honestly should be before the wide receiver window closes, in my opinion. He should be going in like the 8th or 9th round in this type of format.
I mean, I think are our competitors watching? Did they just think, hey, we could just keep pushing Jeudy? We could just keep pushing Jeudy. There's no way these guys take him. I'm surprised this entire room was on board with the Jeudy slide.
The only thing that would have made that better with having Zach on is if we had a Jerry Jeudy clip somehow. We could just play it.
I've been putting out there's a bounty for if someone will make a Jerry Jeudy ship chasing clip, but it's all Jerry Jeudy drops and him quitting on routes. Specifically, I think it's I can't remember what week it was. I'll go back and find it. I've got notes on it, but there's a couple really good ones from last year where Jerry Jeudy just stops playing football during a football play, and I need those in there. But if you make that, I'll get you a BBM entry or two. So
when you said I got notes on it, I just envisioned that scene from Billy Madison where Steve Buscemi's like got his kill list, like sacks Jerry Jeudy, like these are all the things he's done wrong list. It's fantastic.
So after we pick Jeudy, so we have Tyreek, Nico, Diggs, Flowers, Reed, and Jeudy.
Well, now the ADP value is a third quarterback if you want him.
Yep. There's also Algier, looks like a slight ADP value. And then we start to get into some of the rookie wide receivers as well. I don't know if we can maybe push one of those guys, though.
Here I would be pretty squarely Algier or Polk, and it really just depends on how much you like Drake May.
The other name I would float is Bucky Irving, because I think this room we saw Kamani Vidal go a little higher than ADP. He's a little lower here, but lower than he is on Underdog. He's in the Algier range. I mean, he's ahead of Roshan and stuff on Underdog. I guess I don't know.
And the truth is probably none of these guys we've mentioned are coming back.
Right. And I actually prefer Bucky to Algier is kind of the point I'm making, but I could see taking Algier for sure.
Are we worried with this room? Kenneth Walker, Zach Moss, Kenry Miller, Ty Chandler. It does feel like a running back is probably better, just thinking about like the positional runs and how much it dries up after this. The question, I do love.
Do you have a lot of options for your QB3?
You can. There's some stuff you can do with QB3 later. I wouldn't worry about it right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do love Bucky, but I kind of feel like just value hounding Algier here. We also are like in the spot of the draft where normally you're taking Bijan. I'm going to grab Algier here and see. I mean, just anecdotally in my underdog rooms, Bucky has been a big faller lately. Like I've gotten him at like 195 sometimes. So I don't know, maybe a smaller chance he comes back.
There
That's
was like
another-
a tiny bit of negative buzz on Bucky that I don't think is like anything super material. But it was just like,
What was it?
God, let me find the guy
Let
who
him.
wrote it.
The that's another guy where the RB2, RB3 thing I just talked about is very clear to me. They didn't add anyone. They have a couple UDFAs. They kept Chase Edmonds and Sean Tucker, who couldn't beat out Rachaad White last year when Rachaad White was like really poor rushing the football.
Yeah.
And then they took Bucky Irving ahead of a lot of these other like day 3 backs. Like there were a few obviously that went on day 2, but running backs go later these days. I don't think we've adjusted as a fantasy landscape enough for the fact that round 4 capital is actually somewhat meaningful at running back. It's gotten more meaningful just in the past decade. And so a lot of the studies aren't going to show you that yet, but there have been some hits in the early, like Algier himself was a round 4 pick that was a first year hit. Ramondre Stevenson was a round 4 pick that was a first year hit. There's a bunch of these examples. I've mentioned them on other streams recently, but if Bucky's good and his production was a lot better than his actual testing, but if he's good, he's definitely better than the other RB2 candidates. And he he also then has this fragile starter that is not a very good runner. He's a good receiver, but
we're going to, for the sake of jinxing, we're going to stop talking about players who are still on the board. So our team, we got 2 quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels and Tua. We're up to 5 running backs now. Kenneth Walker, Zach Moss, Kendre Miller, Ty Chandler, and Tyler Algier. Got the 6 wide receivers, Tyreek Hill, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Zay Flowers, Jaden Reed, in the alpha hammer play, Jerry Jeudy, and then 2 tight ends, Mark Andrews, Cole Kmet. So like structurally, we're in a good spot right now.
I should mention that I'm bag defending hella hard. Bucky's like my highest owned player.
I have a lot of Bucky too, Gretch, and I'm just like I'm starting to just chill a tiny bit just because I have so much of him, and I want to take the other backs that go around him that are I have way more Bucky than I have Ray Davis, and it's like, are they really that? I mean, they're different in that Ray Davis has a better running back ahead of him, but he's also on a better offense. So,
yeah. But we could chat about another player.
There you go.
Stop talking
off
about
the
it.
board.
Oh, he went.
I was trying to FUD him a little bit there.
Yeah,
so it didn't work.
This Dodalex message like really kind of gave me some PTSD. It hit me. He said, "If Bucky sucks, Rachaad really is going to be a smash again, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean that's the only thing standing between it because there's nothing else on that depth chart. Like that's the other way you can read it. Because if Bucky really isn't it, then it's just Rachaad White all like 2023 all over again."
So some of the ADP, Mike Williams was a big ADP faller. Couple rookies go at the turn, Troy Franklin and Jalen Polk. There. And Deshaun Watson did come off the board as well, so that Judy stack is gone. As far as like quarterback stuff, though, too, Kendre, there's Derek Carr. We can do Minnesota stuff with Ty Chandler. I'm not feeling like completely up against the wall there for QB3.
But yeah, Mims and Franklin both going and Polk all going right in this gap is really annoying. As far as, I mean, the favorite ways to do it. But you're right. There's a lot of ways to get there.
Yeah, Bo Nix comes off the board here.
Weird. Unstacked. Oh, Jaleel.
Unstacked.
He's good.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. McLaughlin.
But no Cortland Sutton on that roster either. That's odd.
Yeah, so looking at, I know we have flexibility with the flexes, but with 4 picks left.
Wow.
Wow.
Luke McCaffrey went way ahead of ADP.
Jeez.
That's okay. Naked Jaden Daniels is something I am never that concerned about, honestly.
Yeah.
We're definitely getting one more quarterback, definitely getting one more tight end, couple more receivers and one more running back probably.
Yeah, for the tight ends, I think at this point you just dare the room to prove to you that they know who the actual correct players are to click down here, because most of them are just bad picks. And so I just like make the room show me that they actually know who to click here. I take Drake May here 100 times out of 100 because there's no other. You ain't getting another good third quarterback that you can stack. So
I definitely wouldn't take him 100 times out of 100, Pete. If you're not sold, I don't even think I'd take him 50 times out of 100.
I'm looking.
It's a full season points thing. I'm legit concerned Drake May doesn't start till mid-season. Like,
but we have Daniels and Tua though is the thing.
Yeah.
So this is for our upside. We're not taking this third quarter like. Yeah. Also, the most recent report out of Patriots camp is that one of the beat reporters that I think is one of the most plugged in guys has Drake May pegged as a 35% chance to start week 1, which when he was writing the article, I'm sure he was writing it as, hey, everyone, just beware. This guy's probably not starting. But when I read it, I'm like 35%. Oh, maybe.
Yeah, well, we grabbed Drake May here. I was eyeing like all of these rookie wide receivers. You know, the Polk, McCaffrey, Leggett was a huge ADP faller there. So that kind of stung.
Leggett went in the 16th round.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Leggett, AD Mitchell, both of those guys just go criminally late usually on FFPC. Like I just had a draft where I think I took AD in the 17th round. I think at like 1704.
Wow. He went 14 here, but yeah, Theo sniped up both of those, and Brian Thomas. He's been grabbing some of those guys that are just fallers from other platforms. Unfortunately,
Eric, are you doing a bit where you name players who have already been drafted? Is that what you're doing?
It's not a very fun bit. Jerry Jeudy. Draft Jerry Jeudy again.
Yeah, Braylon Allen would have been a nice one there if he came back. Yeah, the tight end is just a wasteland right now.
There's a couple that are clickable in my opinion, but most of them aren't. And I think just probabilistically, if the room takes one, they're probably going to take one that I think is a bad click. And so I usually prioritize these the least.
Yeah.
But is there something to prioritize for? If you don't have a clear other pick, you know?
Yeah, I think that there's a couple good ones here.
I would make a pitch for Estime. I always like taking him in this range personally, but I don't know. I mean, if you have some other ones that you really like, I'm curious.
I mean, I feel Braylon gone.
I mean, Ricky Pearsall shouldn't go this late.
Oh, that's weird.
So there's that.
Yeah. Does that also us though for building out the back stack with May?
That's what I was going to say. You might just say, I'm actually good at receiver. I'm just going to take Javon Baker. You also can pass on Baker knowing that you're fine. There's 3 viable Patriots receivers here. So you could also take one of the running backs that I think are good picks here. Like I think CEH is a really good pick. Deonta Foreman's a really good pick. And there's a couple others that you can push later as well.
I think I like the estimate call. Great.
You can't leave this draft without a rookie running back, man. That's the key.
Running back.
Or a Broncos running back. You just check 2 important boxes. We got our buddy Sack, who's an absolute genius, is touting Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Deonta Freeman, who are 2 corpses over getting some rookie youth on your build. I don't know what's happening, man.
I had a different rookie that I prefer for this one that I think we can get later, but we'll see if he makes it back to us.
That's at least intriguing.
Yeah,
more intriguing than Deontay Foreman. There's like 17. That's a team that does not have a clear RB3. There's beats that have said that Pierre Strong is definitely making the team for special teams, and he got usage last year I think Foreman probably makes it, but I think when Nick Chubb comes back, he's the obvious cut because Nyheim Hines is probably their kick returner too. Like they're probably going to keep 4 running backs with Chubb on PUP, and then when Chubb comes back, Hines and Strong are playing special teams, and Deontay Foreman's gone.
But this is a total points cumulative scoring league. So Foreman, this is the best format. Yeah, this is the best format to click Foreman, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think you have like probably a greater than 10-15% chance that Nick Chubb doesn't play meaningful snaps this season, you know?
Yeah. I just have been very anti Deontay Foreman this year. So
he's just so free. He's so free. And I mean, they gave Kareem Hunt a lot of valuable touches last year, and I don't think that he's as good of a player as Deontay Foreman is. So,
yeah, Foreman is good. They have a lot of good running backs. That's what makes
the Browns also do like. The Browns do care about like their running backs being good too. You know, like they didn't play Pierre Strong last year because they're like, this guy's not that good. You know, that's why they played Kareem Hunt, because they were like, well, he's better than this guy. Like they do care about people being good, which is different. Some teams really don't care about that. I think the Browns care.
Strong did get 68 touches last year. It was pretty solid, efficient.
68 though.
Yeah.
So Javon Baker goes. That's a bummer. Otherwise, nothing. Yeah, and Deontay Foreman did go as well in this round. We got 3 more picks left. Luckily, the Patriots are just a fucking rushing nesting doll of wide receivers. So you can't take them all. You could try, but there will still be a few left.
Yeah, you're probably one of each skill position to close it out here. Is what I would think.
Yeah, we need to find a tight end. Yeah,
chat says Foreman's the goal line back, hands down. I don't know where we can be certain about that with Jerome Ford there too. They paid Foreman nothing. They just like gave him a little camp invite. I don't know. I haven't drafted Foreman once, so again, beg defending. I think he's undraftable. So,
I mean, if Foreman is undraftable, then doesn't that make Ford like giga undraftable, because he's going a lot more expensive and he's probably not that much better than Foreman. Like he wasn't good last year. You got the literal nut outcome for Jerome Ford, and it was So why would you ever? It's just like Deontay Foreman is like Jerome Ford arbitrage, where you're still getting to bet on a bad outcome for Nick Chubb, and you're getting to bet on a good offensive line. That's kind of the way that I view Foreman.
Teams care about, like, the scheme, and like they gave Ford 250 touches last year. Like that's the reason that Ford's better. I'm not taking Ford either.
They had no other option. You know, like the other option was Kareem Hunt, which they did go to for a substantial amount of high value touches. Like they were down bad. Like if you had called the Browns, you're like, I'm in fighting shape. They would have been like, show up.
What are you looking at, Pete?
I'm thinking here, as I wait to say it to get my heart broken. I'm thinking running back, random tight end, random Patriots wide receiver.
That's the order I would do it in as well.
So I was thinking Shipley here, and then we can figure out tight end in the next one.
Yep, I think that's good.
That makes sense.
Got to get out ahead of Sean's article that came out over the weekend, calling him potentially the next Alvin Kamara.
Shipley.
Yeah,
I took so much Shipley in the big board in the pre-draft. I love that profile. We were talking about him on Stealing Bananas a lot, and then he lands with Jalen Hurts, and I'm just like, I mean, we did this with DeAndre Swift. Like, yeah, they're gonna throw to the backs a little bit more, and DeAndre Swift always earned targets at a really high rate with the Lions, and then suddenly there's just, I mean, Hurts just is a mobile quarterback that reads downfield and then scrambles. He's not a guy that's going to throw to the backs a lot, and it's tough to be the next Alvin Kamara with Jalen Hurts. But.
Yeah, I also just think of it too, like if you are like full fading or close to full fading Barkley, like how does that go wrong? Other than,
Yeah.
like, and if it does, I mean, Shipley has to be a pretty big beneficiary.
For sure.
Yeah,
That's a good way of thinking about it.
he was one of my highest drafted running backs in the pre-NFL draft contest. I think I was over like 20% on him because he was going undrafted or in the last round. Purely just for the pass catching profile. I was hoping he'd land somewhere where he could get that work. He lands on the Eagles, which probably was not a great landing spot for him, but he got decent draft capital. The only pushback I have at all on Sean's thesis on him is he did get dusted by a true freshman at Clemson. Like he was not the best running back on the team, very, very clearly. And that's why he left. That's why he declared for the NFL, because he was not going to be the running back there anymore. So the talent is a little questionable, but I think he's still a great pick.
I mean, I click Jatavian Sanders in 18-round drafts occasionally. He seems by far the best when Zach Ertz, Hayden Hurst, Greg Dulcich, and then Daniel Bellinger are coming off the board right now. For the listeners at home, these are the other tight ends in the queue just by their default rank. Tyler Higbee, Theo Johnson, Donald Parham, Gerald Everett, Lucas Kroll, Noah Gray, Will Dissly, and Jared Wiley. So I guess this is a Jatavian Sanders pick.
I mean, Mayer's the only other. Oh, Mayer went.
He's gone.
Yeah. That was, of those 5 tight ends that went previously, the only one. I would occasionally consider Bellinger, but probably not. I was clicking Theo Johnson before he went on PUP, but I just am worried. Tight end's usually a position that's kind of slow to start anyway, and then you're going to miss some at camp. Like that's something where I want to wait now to have a little more information before I'm going to start clicking Theo Johnson again. So I guess you can do the Bellinger thing if you're saying, the logical conclusion of it being bad for
the guy
Theo.
who went after your pick.
I just Googled him. Never heard of him.
Don't know who he is.
Dalen Holker.
Don't know what team he's on.
I should know. He went to Colorado State in my backyard growing up.
Literally don't know what team he's on. Who?
Plays for the Saints. Also went to BYU. 6'4", 236-pound tight end. Saints made a hefty investment in rookie free agent Dalen Holker.
Okay, so on UDFA terms, they gave him like $100K instead of $50K.
It's hefty investment on UDFA terms.
What are we doing?
I mean, he's in a world of hurt at tight end. He has Jake Ferguson, Mike Gesicki, no one else. Like he's drowning. There's a couple people drowning at tight end in this room. Like the one hole is TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah, but like go draft like Robert Tonyan or something. At least Robert Tunyan's going to play half the year while TJ Hawkinson's coming back. Or
the Kmet pick is aging very nicely when you just kind of look at the tier breaks and then this blitz here, like not feeling quite as panicked to chase like a Dawson Knox into the 17th or whatever feels nice.
I mean, I hope this Dalen Holker guy is good for this dude's sake, but
yeah,
this team has Juwan Johnson, Foster Moreau, Taysom Hill, and Tommy Hudson. They used a little bit last year too, who's been a guy who's kicked around as like a depth tight end and been a good receiver at places. So you need like somebody of that group to get cut for this guy to even make the team.
Maybe they're praying for Holker to get cut and picked up by a tight end needy team, and that's the out.
I really did dare the room to take every New England wide receiver because then Kendrick Bourne went. And
Tommy Hudson's not Tom. I was thinking of Tommy Sweeney, who used to kicked around a little bit. Tommy Hudson's not any good.
Tommy Hudson is the infamous pick from the underdog draft where the guy got sniped on Stroud and then rage tanked him. That's how he will forever be known to me. Jared Wiley goes. So we're down to Mr. Irrelevant. Thank you guys for hanging out here on a chill Sunday evening. Also, thank you, Sacrilegious and Gretch, for being my co-pilots here. It was much appreciated for a format I haven't been playing.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was happy to hop on. Always fun to draft in the FFPC streets.
Do you guys have what's your draft slot tomorrow, Gretch?
I don't know, and I'm still trying to figure out who Dallin Holker is.
I thought I gave you the clip
Haunt
though.
me tonight. No, you did. You gave me some great information, but I'm still confused. I had 64 catches at Colorado State last year. He actually had a little production.
I do
What am I
love the
missing?
Bo Nix stack with Josh Reynolds. I actually like. I've clicked Josh Reynolds a couple times. That's fun.
Yeah.
What do you like
He's
more,
fun to play.
Bo Nix with Josh Reynolds or Drake May with KJ Osborne?
Oh, I mean, it's Drake May with KJ Osborne going away. That's an easy one.
This is how, like, is this, you eat, you like binged on Snickers and now you're going to have like a bunch of lettuce here. You took the Jerry Judy, you feel like shit. And then is this KJ Osborne going to be the ultimate palate cleanser for you?
I mean, KJ Osborne is just a beautiful chef's kiss to end this draft. I mean, like all joking aside, pretend that Javon Baker doesn't work out, right? And I've got a lot of Baker.
Not
He's
that
one
hard
of my highest.
then.
Right, he's one of my highest drafted receivers. KJ Osborne profiles to fill the role that we're thinking Javon Baker could fill pretty easily for a quarterback who we really like for his deep passing. So I think KJ Osborne's a very reasonable click.
Very
And,
reasonable.
He is the final selection on this team. And we did finish strong with some rookie upside there. Obviously, we had Jaden Daniels early. Missed out on a lot of the rookie wide receivers. Luke McCaffrey was one that would have been fun to get with Jaden Daniels. But we finish Drake May, Audric Estime, Will Shipley, Jatavian Sanders. So, we did our best for the youth chasers out there.
Osborne got $3.18 fully guaranteed million on a 1 year, $4 million deal. Like, he's gonna make the team. He's gonna play.
Yeah.
Good dude. Good dude to have.
All right. I pull up the roster view here so you can see this. Our three quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels, Tua, and Drake May. Feels like a cromulent quarterback room. We had this 0 RB build anchored by Kenneth Walker, Zach Moss, Kendre Miller, Ty Chandler, Tyler Algier, Audric Estime, Will Shipley. Looks like a good running back room. Got our wide receivers, Tyreek Hill, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Zay Flowers, Jaden Reed, Jerry Judy, and KJ Osborne. Definitely not the two wide receivers I thought were going to be rounding out this room at the time, Jerry Judy and KJ Osborne, but the Lord works in mysterious ways. And then
Always going to happen when Zach came on.
Mark Andrews, Cole Kmet, and Jatavian Sanders there. What do we think about this squad here? I feel like it's a really solid squad. We just didn't get a lot of our, favorites on here.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I think it's a really good team. The Stroud thing, a little bit tilting, but I think you built well despite that. Would have been nice to have that directional season-long bet on the whole passing game there, but you still have a really strong one with Nico and Diggs, and then Daniels is a different way of playing quarterback ceiling. We always talk about the quarterback being sort of the least important part of that type of bet. You have your little bet on the Baltimore passing game as well. I mean, I like that part of it where you're doing the teammate bets in a full season points league. Like you're saying Baltimore's pass rate and Houston's pass rate are high. The actual position groups look great to me as well. I mean, I think it's a good team.
Yeah, the rookie upside we got at the end was really necessary. We didn't have a lot of it early, and that's just a side effect of being in a room with people who know who the good rookies to click are. So the room did a good job not letting these guys fall as far as they usually do, but I feel like we still got a really fun team here.
Yep. And also shout out to our guy Drico as well, provided his sheet to me tonight to keep an eye on, and I appreciated that, doing some great work over in the FFPC streets. And I know he has his rankings that he's helped on over at Leg Up as well. If you guys are wanting to get some ranks to hop in a similar contest, not this is the Pro-Am or whatever, but there is the what's the official, is it just called the Best Ball Tournament?
Yep. BBT, the Best Ball Tournament, $125 entry. I believe it's $300K to first. One of the most top heavy tournaments that is out there in the best ball format. So if you think you have an edge at it, it's the one where you'll have your highest theoretical ROI, because the more top heavy a tournament is, the better your theoretical ROI can be in it. So
And I think we're going to draft one of those on Ship Chasing this afternoon. So that will be fun. We'll have kind of gotten our feet wet with these pros versus Joes. And so if you guys want to see another one of those, that'll be Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Like I said, Gretsch will be streaming his tomorrow on the Stealing Signals YouTube. So make sure you guys tune in for that. Is that an 8 p.m. kickoff as well, or is that a different time, Gretsch?
You'd think that I would know my draft slot and my kickoff time, but unfortunately, I do not.
Okay. No worries.
I can look it up. It's 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. So come join us at youtube.com/@Stealing Signals, 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night.
Beautiful. Sacrilegious, anything going on in your neck of the woods at Leg Up right now?
We're just working on some updates for the Sidekick. We just sent a new update to the extension yesterday, which had some new stuff in there. You can now draft off of ADP. So if you're tired of getting 30% Jalen Warren, you can switch from drafting off Leg Up ranks to just drafting off ADP. I really enjoyed just kind of toggling back and forth and just getting a second opinion to see, if I was purely doing this from ADP, what would the best pick be, and then going back to the Leg Up ranks to see what we've got there. So that's all for us over Leg Up.
Beautiful. One other programming note for this channel, ADP Chasing will be live tomorrow as usual. Finally, lots of kind of more interesting market updates to discuss. Got the Chiefs wide receivers moving up, the Jordan Addison news, all of that good stuff. So they will be breaking that down tomorrow, and I'll have Best Ball Breakfast as usual over on my channel. The rotating guest this week is Roto Pat from Roto World, always a fun guy to hop in a draft with. So that will be a good show. That's at 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow on my channel. Appreciate you, Ship Chasers. We will see you guys next time. Peace out.